Hi everybody, this is Anna. Welcome to my video. And today I'm going to talk about Granulomatous mastitis. I hope I'm saying that right. And this is part 2. If you haven't seen the first video, I have a different video and I will put the link down below. I decided to do 2 parts because there's just so much that happened. And I know that it's just different for everybody, but maybe some people get the symptoms that I had. And it's just so much. I don't want you to feel alone. I had so many secondary issues because of what happened to my breast, and I don't want you to feel alone. I want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, which is why I'm here. All glory to God. I am way better than I was before, and I actually thought that I was not going to recover from it because I had so many issues, just tons of issues that developed because of my breast, what happened to my breast. And it's just amazing that I'm here and I'm so grateful. So I'm gonna talk about the first thing that I noticed was after dealing with breast pain and everything was that my liver, when I got my blood work done, my alkaline phosphatase in my liver was really high. They told me that because of the infection that my liver was just working overtime, or that that's just its own problem, that it has nothing to do with my breast. I didn't know which one to believe, but I did do my research, and it can happen with infections, that your ALT, your AST, I think that's what it's called, and your alkaline phosphatase levels do increase when you have an infection. So I just blamed the infection, the breast pain, and I moved on with my life. And I also developed anemia. My iron levels were low and my ferritin levels were high. I was just really tired all the time. I didn't have the energy to do anything. And then another thing that I developed was, I don't know how to say this, but something like erythema nodosum. Yeah.
Erythema nodosum.
Yeah, erythema nodosum. So what Google says, and this is what I developed after having breast pain. It says erythema nodosum is an inflammatory skin condition causing tender red bumps on the skin, most often on the shins, that can also affect other body parts. I did get that only on my legs, no arms or anything. I took a picture of one. I didn't really take pictures, but this is what it... Yeah, that's what they look like. It was a little bit painful every time I would touch it. Oh, and one big symptom that I had was joint pain. That was so bad. It was one of the worst things ever because I felt like I could not walk. I actually thought I developed arthritis as a secondary condition. I felt like I couldn't move my body. It was just so bad. And I was like, is this an autoimmune disease? What is this? I was trying to figure out what it was. Pain was almost unbearable as well when it came to the joint pain. I felt like I needed a wheelchair, and that sounds so dramatic, but that's what it felt like. It was just so painful. But I didn't tell anyone that because I thought I was being so dramatic until I heard stories from other people and the joint pain that they experienced with the breast pain, and they all say that it's just so painful that they feel like they need a wheelchair. So I know I'm not being dramatic because other people are saying the same thing. Another thing that I developed was back pain. The back pain was also one of the worst things that I just this was probably the second worst right after the breast. So first it's breast and then the back pain, because I thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't take a deep breath and it was hurting so bad. If you have that, go get it checked out, because there's just so many things that it could be. For me, it was nothing serious. For me, it was, I don't even know what it was up to this day. But I know that I could not take a deep breath. I had to be like this. Like I was like walking around like this, and every time I would do this, like I felt like I couldn't breathe. I had to be like this. And I had arm pain as well with my back connected to my back. So it was like my back and my arms, like my shoulders. I don't know how to describe this feeling, but it felt, the only way I could describe it is that it felt with my arms, it felt like somebody just stretched me to the max and they just pulled my arms like this and then they let it go. And then I'm left with the pain in my arms from stretching me so hard. That's the only way I can describe the pain. And I remember being scared about that because I thought that it was gonna be a blood clot, because that's all I kept seeing online, that it could be a blood clot, and I was so scared. And to be honest, when I went to the ER, they did do the blood test, and I don't know if you guys have heard of a D-dimer test, but the D-dimer test, sometimes they test that to see if you have blood clots. And my D-dimer test came back like positive for that, or high. So when I'm there, I had already had a CT scan done one time, and then when I came to the ER that time and they told me that my D-dimer was high, they're like, oh, okay, so this is actually serious and you need to get a CT scan because you might have a blood clot. They did the CT scan and they told me that no, there is no blood clot. Thankfully, I didn't have a blood clot, and I just thank God. That was crazy, crazy times. And then not only that, they gave me more antibiotics. They told me go see a breast surgeon. And later, after the back pain, having the back pain for quite a while, I had it for quite a while. I also had neck pain. So it was like from here to my back to my arm. And I felt so alone in this because I feel like not everybody had those symptoms. Once I found the Facebook group and more information online, I never really saw people that had the back pain. People were saying that's something else. People were saying, I don't think it's this. I did find like one other person, but I felt alone in this, and I thought that there was something very serious with me, and that maybe they were not catching it, that they were missing something, but no. And then when they checked my blood work with the breast surgeon, when I went to see the breast surgeon, they checked my C-reactive protein, and that usually is high. And I think I mentioned that in the other video. The C-reactive protein was high, was extremely high actually. It was 108, and it's supposed to be under 8. That's inflammation in your body. So my body had a lot of inflammation, which explains the back pain and the neck pain and the joint pain and the breast pain. Another big thing, actually these were all pretty intense. The back pain was intense, the joint pain was intense, the breast pain was intense. Everything was pretty intense. So I felt like I was dying. I only told my husband that because I was so scared to say it out loud. Then the stomach pain. This one was so bad. Okay, I keep saying that about everything because everything was so bad, but everything was just so bad, so painful, so intense. And the stomach pain was horrible. I felt like I had gas trapped inside my abdomen. Well, later I realized that it was because of all the antibiotics that I was given. I was given so many rounds of antibiotics, and I was scared to get C. diff. I have heard of I've heard of horror stories with C. diff, but it got so bad. I left the hospital and it was getting worse. And since they sent me home with more antibiotics, I kept taking them because of my breast, since it was still hard. And I was scared that the infection was gonna get worse. So I went home with the antibiotics, and my stomach pain kept getting worse and worse. And it got so bad that I couldn't stand up straight. Every time I would wake up, it would be the worst pain ever. My back would be hurting, my stomach would be hurting, my neck would be hurting, and my breast would be hurting, and my joints would be hurting. So every time I would wake up, it was the worst pain ever. The appetite, I had no appetite. I choose health over taste all the time. So even with this, I would force myself to eat. I had no desire to eat. And for me, I'm like, I feel sick. I don't know if I look sick, but I don't want to look sick. So I would force myself to eat. So I would force myself to eat all the time. So I would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would spend like an hour eating at every meal because I just didn't feel like eating. Thank you for watching. So I hope this video helps you feel less alone. And love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Bye.